Christy here from Go See Christy Beauty Boutique, and we're located in Southern California. And we have received quite a few requests to review Kylie Skin on our YouTube channel. So it arrived today. And so for those of you who don't know, I almost didn't know, Kylie Jenner. So she is, for those of you who don't know, she's part of the Kardashian family. And so I wanted to go ahead and open it up so you could see what it looked like. So it says Kylie Skin by Kylie Jenner, and so I have to tell you a funny story. I didn't know that this was actually Kylie Jenner. Actually, my assistant told me that this is her. So beautiful young girl, okay? And then it says, hope you guys love your Kylie Skin products. This is just the beginning. Hugs and kisses, Kylie. Okay, now, so by the time I went online to get the whole skincare set, it was actually sold out. So I only chose certain ones. So I have mature skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop using my clinical skincare and try this out for 30 days so I can give you actually a fair assessment instead of just kind of looking at it, tell you what it smells like, or you know, whatever. I'm actually going to do a little bit more in-depth review on this. And this one is the foaming face wash. It almost looks like a toner, actually. So I'll put that there. I got the vitamin C serum because you all know that I'm into advanced skincare, so we'll evaluate this. Okay, and the face moisturizer. So this is not the sunscreen, it's just the moisturizer. So I'm going to be trying this out for 30 days and then letting you know what my skin looks like and how it feels and the texture of this. So this is going to come out later than most people's reviews because I am going to do a full review on this, and I feel like I can be a pretty fair judge because I'm only going to judge on the quality of the products. I'm not a Kylie Jenner fan, but I'm also not a Kylie Jenner hater. She's in a completely generation from me. I'm at the age where I could be her mother easily. So that's why I don't really know too much I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. So I'm not too familiar with the family, but because of the request of this, I'm going to do the evaluation and I will get back with you in 30 days. So what happens to my skin 30 days later? So in this video, we are going to go over the product review, product ingredients, and what happened to my skin about 30 days of using this. So first, I do want to start out by saying that this video is not being sponsored by the skincare company. This was actually in response to a couple of my younger clients who asked me on social media what I thought about the Kylie Jenner products. So it would have been very easy for me just to look at the ingredients and then just evaluate it by that. But I thought I would actually try the product. So what I purchased was the cleanser, the face wash. I also purchased the moisturizer and the vitamin C serum. I did not purchase the vanilla milk toner and the walnut scrub. Based on the ingredients on that, I didn't even want to spend money on that. So I don't think it would be fair for me to review those products because I didn't try it. So we're going to be reviewing these specific products. Here we go. I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue because as I've been using this, I've had some little tiny bumps all over my face and even on my neck. So it's not really that cleansing. So what I do like about it is the packaging, how it comes. It's really solid. If you can see, you lift up so it's not going to crush the product. And what's unique about this cleanser, it is in an aerator bottle. So what I mean by that is when you lift up the lid, aerator thing, so it's kind of a liquid soap. So you just need just a little bit like that, and then you work it up and it really foams up. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it really foams up really nicely, and it does have a light, kind of a soap, fresh, clean smell to it. It's kind of slippery, although because I've worked with so many cleansers, if you do this, which most people are not going to do with cleansers, it is stripping the acid mantle. So the first one is, as I said, the Kylie Skin Care Cleanser. Now, although it foams very, very well, like I had mentioned, it doesn't really break down. So when you are wearing sunscreen, sunscreens are made to stay on the skin. So a lot of them will say rub proof or rub resistant, water resistant, smear resistant. So when you are using sunscreen, you do need to do a double cleanse, and you do need to use a cleanser that can effectively break that down. I did not find that this effectively broke it down. So that's the one downside to this. Also, I will add that different skincare products respond differently to different skin types, because it's based on several factors, such as your age, how much oil you produce, if you're breakout prone, what kind of sensitivities that you have, what kind of climate you're living in, if it's an arid climate or a very humid climate. So given that, this skincare line, I would say, is I would more recommend this for younger skin types. So and that is understandable because she herself is young. So most of the people that I noticed reviewing this product line were younger, so it may be a better match for their skin. I actually know that I am older than almost all of them that reviewed this. I have older aging skin, so my skin is going to be different, and my skin has different needs. It's better for younger skin, and or if you have normal to combo oily skin types. So this actually says that it says our luxurious foaming face wash is infused with ultra nourishing kiwi seed oil packed with vitamin C and E to help maintain moisture and improve elasticity. Okay, so the first thing is vitamin C and vitamin E are antioxidants. Vitamin C is highly oxidative. It breaks down very quickly when exposed to air, light, and heat. So given that it is in a see-through bottle, the vitamin C has probably already broken down. Okay, so here is a myth. When it is an anti-aging cleanser and it claims to have vitamin C and vitamin E or even hyaluronic acid or these active ingredients that typically they price it a little bit higher because of these ingredients, save your money for those products in serums or creams, because when it is in a cleanser, it doesn't stay on the skin long enough for even to penetrate the skin. So that's the first thing. The other thing is when I looked at the ingredients, so technically they're not adding vitamin C as an ingredient in and of itself. They are saying that the anti-ingredients of vitamin C and E are in the kiwi seed oil. Okay, so technically that's what they are saying. It doesn't break down again as nicely, so I felt like my skin still needed to be cleansed, which is probably why my skin started to form these tiny little bumps. I did try to, in really good light, take a picture so you could see. I zoomed in, but because of the two-dimensional, you couldn't really tell because they were, in fact, tiny little bumps. So I do recommend, if you have normal combo oily skin, may be better for you when you're younger. If you have sensitive skin, if you're prone to sensitivities, this may not be the cleanser for you. And if you actually have active breakouts, it doesn't have any antibacterial properties in here for acne. So, and she doesn't claim that. So that, you know, it's we're not criticizing that. It's just she's trying to come up with a cleanser that's probably better for more normal-ish skin types. So here comes the pro tip. The pro tip is that when you're looking for a cleanser, look more for its pH balancing of the skin as well as the cleansing properties of the skin. And depending on your specific skin condition, whether it's acne or anti-aging, you want to look for the benefits of that. So for example, if it's acne cleanser, you're going to look for, depending on what type of breakouts, salicylic acid, glycolic acid, and or benzoyl peroxide. Those are just some of the ones that you want to look for. So that's just an example. So this cleanser does have some hydrating ingredients in here. It does have glycerin, which is the 5th ingredient from the top, and it has sodium hyaluronate, which is hyaluronic acid, and that's actually 5th from the bottom. Now there are 4 possible ingredients that could trigger a eczema flare-up or people who have sensitive skin and may have a rash. So again, every skin type is different, so it just depends, but here are some of the following that you may want to look out for. So the first one is cocamidopropylbutane, which is a derivative of coconut oil. It is a surfactant. For most skin types, they can tolerate this, but again, for some skin types, it can cause dermatitis. The other one is fragrance. So that's for obvious reasons. The other one is citric acid. The other one is sodium benzenate. And so that's typically used as a preservative for skincare products and skin conditioners and beauty products. Now, for most skin types, they can tolerate it. But for those of you who have sensitive skin or sensitized skin because you're using Retin-A or retinol or any type of acid-based products, this can cause dermatitis after you're using it for several uses, especially when it's combined with L-ascorbic acid, which is the better form of vitamin C, or retinol or Retin-A that could, with continued use, it could cause inflammation or dermatitis. So you do have to be careful with that for those of you who have sensitive or sensitized skincare, which leads me to my next product, which is the vitamin C serum. Before we move on to our vitamin C serum, if you're finding this information helpful, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already to our channel, we would love it if you subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when new videos come up. Okay, so the next one is the vitamin C serum. So because the L-ascorbic acid or citric acid or most acids can cause, not that everybody would get it, but can cause sensitivity in the skin, I understand why that with their vitamin C, they actually did not use L-ascorbic acid. They actually used a fat-soluble form of vitamin C. So impressively enough, the second ingredient is the vitamin C derivative, and that's the tetrahexyldecyl ascorbate. So it is a milder form of vitamin C. It also has some other beneficial ingredients such as tocopherol acetate, which is vitamin E, and that's also oil soluble, and that is actually the seventh ingredient. The other ingredient that's really beneficial is that they've included is ferulic acid. For those of you who haven't heard, ferulic acid is actually like a BFF to vitamin C and E. It actually boosts the efficacy of both those antioxidants, and ferulic acid in and of itself is also an antioxidant. It also has Camellia sinensis extract, which is green tea extract. It has powerful polyphenols that are known to be an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. It is listed as the last ingredient in the ingredients list. It also has sodium hyaluronate, so it does have some humectant properties in addition to glycerin. It also has panthenol, which is another humectant. Okay, so with the added humectants, you also want a balance of emollients and occlusives. And in this case, it has a nice emollient, safflower seed oil. And what that has is it actually has some triglycerides, which contains some polyunsaturated fats to help supplement the fatty acids in the stratum corneum. So nice job on that. So the pro tip on this vitamin C serum is this would be actually ideal for someone who has oily skin or breakout prone skin as a moisturizer because it's very lightweight. It has a good balance of emollients and humectants in there. Or for those of you who are older and want an anti-aging serum and you don't want to spend a lot, although it doesn't have the clinically proven L-ascorbic acid, you still could use this as a vitamin C derivative with the price being at $28 for 0.7 ounces. So it's fragrance free and it absorbs very well. So that's a pro tip for you if those of you that are considering this anti-aging serum. Typically what I have seen from my skin as well as my client's skin is you start to see visible differences in the skin typically at the 4 to 6 week mark when you are consistently using the products in the same order and you're not veering off and using all these other products. So that's why I wanted to do a fair 30-day approximately assessment. So when you see clinical studies or clinical trials on skincare products or topical antioxidants, you will usually see these results at the 4-week mark, 8-week mark, and the 12-week mark. So when I was using this consistently, I have hyperpigmentation along the jawline and around my eyes, and I did see some darkening come back using this vitamin C, because again, I am using clinical skincare, so it's not a fair apples to apples comparison, but I did see some of my darker spots that are usually kept at bay with my other products come back when I just simply started to use this and discontinue the use of my clinical skincare. So in addition to, like I had mentioned before, in addition to the hyperpigmentation slowly starting to come back, I did see around the 2.5, almost 3-week mark is when I started to get all these little bumps. So I did have to use my exfoliant to kind of clear all those little bumps, and then again, a couple weeks later, the bumps started forming again. So, and that's because none of the products have any exfoliating agents. So you do have to use, in addition, if you decide you want to use the skincare line, that you need to use something that's exfoliating because none of the products have any exfoliating agents in there. And that might be better for some of you who have extremely sensitive skin. So the final one is the face moisturizer, and this is 1.75 ounces for $24. And so some of the ingredients, humectant ingredients that draws moisture to the skin. Glycerin is the 6th ingredient. Sodium hyaluronate is 6th ingredient from the bottom, and then also aloe vera juice, which is the 5th ingredient. So all three are great for bringing humectants, or basically bringing moisture to the skin. The 4th ingredient is jojoba esters. It's a waxy form of jojoba oil, so it's a hydrogenated form of jojoba oil. And it's actually a very good occlusive, and it works actually both as an occlusive and an emollient. And it works really well when paired with glycerin. So in this case, it has both. The other one is shea butter, which is the 5th ingredient, and it works both as an occlusive and an emollient. It is also very beneficial for dry skin because shea butter has a high level of oleic fatty acids. Now, for those of you who have extremely breakout prone or bumpy prone skin, this may not work for you. Some of you, it may be fine for you. So I don't know if this is the actual ingredient that actually made my skin bumpy. I don't think it is, because there's other products that I've used the shea butter in and it was fine. So I'm not really sure what it is that was causing the bumpy skin and overproduction of oil in my skin. However, so it has that, it's an excellent emollient and a occlusive. But for those of you who are breakup prone, just beware of this. It also has oat bran extract, which there is beta-glucan in there. Beta-glucan is a natural anti-inflammatory. There also is a sweet orange peel extract or oil, and this can be sensitizing to some people. Overuse can get dermatitis. Very small proportion of people who do. I actually noticed this in a lot of different skincare products. So again, for those of you who tend to be a little bit more sensitivity prone, you may not want to use this, but for most people it's actually fine because they use it in a lot of different skincare products. It's also used as an emulsifying agent. So it also is a stabilizer, and it can be used as an antibacterial. So the unique thing about this moisturizer, which I thought was kind of cool initially when I got it, was, here's the tube, right? And then when you open it up, it actually has a little pump on here. So when you have it in your medicine cabinet, it's like this, right? And then when you take off the top, it has a little pump. So I thought it was the greatest thing. The only thing is sometimes it won't, like I pumped it up for it, so it comes right out. But then after a certain amount of time, it won't pump out. So you have to keep squeezing it so that it goes up the little tube to get out here. So initially I thought it was a great idea, but because it's kind of on the thicker side, it may not work well. It may work better if it was more fluid. However, it feels really, really well. It absorbs really well. It has a really good balance for moisturizer. It's probably better for normal skin, combo oily skin. For those of you who have drier skin type, may not be as hydrating unless you add it with a toner. So with all that being said, it is nearly impossible to come up with a skincare line that works with every single type of skin condition and or skin type. Every skin type responds differently. The pH is slightly different. So I understand why Kylie Jenner came up with something that tried to be as generic as possible initially. It leads me to believe, because she said stay tuned for more, she kind of said, basically in her card in the delivery, she made it seem like this is just the beginning. So maybe she's developing a specific skincare line that's for anti-aging, another one for acne, so on and so forth. So, we have to wait and see what those are like. So it is not easy to formulate a skincare line. Skincare is completely different than makeup. So I actually highly commend Kylie Jenner. She is a young woman and she is an entrepreneur, and I applaud her for that. So she's still testing things out. It is nothing like makeup. Makeup hides the skin. It's a completely different criteria when you are formulating makeup, like eyeshadows and blushes, because it's all about pigment and color and spreadability. But when you're talking about skincare is a science, and so that becomes a little bit more complicated. So I actually think she did a very well job for having no background in skincare chemistry at all, and relying on some other people and getting collaborations with other people to help her formulate the skincare. Because remember, makeup is an art, skincare is a science, and if you still are confused on the products to use on your skincare, I will be including a link below so you can actually take a skin quiz to see narrow down what type of products that you want to focus on. So thanks for watching.